Hey, Hebrew and Faith family. It's so good to know that we'll see some of you very soon. We've missed having you here on campus. We wanted to provide an update with just some important information as we think about May 31st and reopening our campus. We've decided on 2 service times, a 9 o'clock outdoor service and an 11 o'clock indoor service. Even now, you can register for those on our website, and we'll talk a little more about that in a moment. But we know that the 9 o'clock option, the outside option, will provide some of you the opportunity to come who may have been a little hesitant to coming to the indoor service that would be planned. Both of those are going to be live streamed. And so if your Connect group is accustomed to meeting through Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever social medium you're using there, you can still plan on watching the 9 o'clock service online if you don't come, and then connect with your Connect group afterward online as well. But both of these will be streamed so that you have options and you and your Connect group can decide what's best for your time together. I do want to say a word. We don't think that you're more faithful if you come versus if you stay home. We want every family to make the decision that's best for them, and we want you to be encouraged. Every family has different health situations going on, and so don't feel any pressure to come to campus. You can still watch these online while we're still in this season with many things that are unknown. I hope that we will extend a lot of grace to each other. I do want to take a moment here at the very beginning to say, we do not want to become a news story. We've seen already in the news some folks who would come to church and they're sick, or they didn't realize they had it, and even most recently 180 other people were exposed to what they had. We know another church in Georgia opened up and 2 weeks later had to shut down. So let me just say very clearly, if you are sick, if you think you're sick, or you think you might be sick, I want to encourage you, stay home. We don't want to bring reproach on the name of Christ by becoming a supercell for this thing. And so there's no shame in staying home. We want to stress that. I also want to say, if you have allergies and you're going to be coughing or sniffing through a whole service, then probably don't want to cause people around you to think, does that person have what I think they have? I don't know that they'll be thinking about Christ if they're thinking about your cough. So listen, if you got any of that, allergies, just take a Sunday, stay home, and come when you're sure that you're clear of those things. No shame in that. I do want to say our staff will be wearing masks inside and outside. And both of these, just in trying to follow the procedures that have been set before us. And because we're going to be in multiple services. And so we especially don't want to be those who are spreading any part of the problem. We want to be a part of the solution. Our staff also will not be hugging or high-fiving or even handshaking, just as a means, again, of minimizing contacts. We will wave, we will greet you, we're gonna smile, but you should know, just as a staff, being in multiple services and around both crowds, we don't want to be a part of the problem. And so you can expect that we're going to be glad to see you. We're just going to minimize our physical contact, and it'll be difficult for many of you and many of us. I also want to say then on that point, if your family is a hugger and you're carefree about hugging right now, just know that other families may not all be there. So don't put them in an awkward position of say, hey, we're huggers. Don't put them in the awkward position of having to tell you no. Let's all try to exercise a little restraint and maybe minimize our contacts here on campus for just a short while. We're telling our staff, look, this is just June. We're just trying to get through June. So want to encourage you, don't put people in awkward positions to have to tell you no or be embarrassed. Let's try to minimize those of you that live in a little more freedom, celebrate that, but let's not push that onto others who may be a little hesitant about that. Let's leave space for everyone to make their own decisions under the guidance of the Spirit for their families right now as they navigate these tough times. Registration is really critical. We have a max of 600 people that we're going to put into the room at this point. And so if you want to reserve one of those spots, you need to go ahead and register online. And you will need to sign up as many as 10 people as well. You can sign up guests, that's fine. But we need everyone who you intend to bring with you registered so that we'll be prepared for that. You also need to know that we will not have childcare for the 11 o'clock service. Children will sit with you during that. We will not be running our elevator as well. So if you're accustomed to parking on the far side over by the gym and coming in that lower level, we're going to encourage you, if you have a walker or a wheelchair or you need handicap accessibility, we want you to drive through right here, our front awning of our worship center, and we will be able to accommodate you and get you in here, but we are not going to be running our elevator during this time. The doors will open about 30 minutes prior to every service so that we leave plenty of time for people to reach their seats and to get ready to join together in worship. Now let's talk about when you arrive. What's it going to look like? We are going to utilize both concourse doors and the ones here in the center lobby. And we will have teams of people who are greeting you outside in each of these areas. We will not open the doors that are behind the worship center where the music suite is. Those doors will be locked. You will need to come around to the sides, but we will be able to get you in the concourses as well as the center here, and we'll have folks that lead you in. There are going to be dots that you'll see on the ground that distance every 6 feet. And as you come in, you're not going to be able to pick your seats. You will be led to seats as a means of us filling up from the front and then moving back. And then we've got the rows already taped off all the way up to the top of the balcony. As a part of that, you will need to skip 4 seats on your row between your family and group and the next family and group. This will allow everyone to be able to spread out as much as possible in that room. We are going to encourage you to wear masks if you want, because we are going to be indoor here. Same thing with our service. Most of it will be the same elements. What will be a little bit different is we're actually going to sing more after the sermon than before the sermon, as a means of minimizing you having to sit in those aerosols and particles that are projected out when people sing. We're going to sing one song at the top of the service, but then we'll sing more toward the end of the service as we close out. We will have a response time, but again, the same thing. The word respond will be on the screen, and you'll be able to text that number, and one of our pastoral staff members will be in contact with you that day. There will be boxes for the offering. You'll see in the lobby. Obviously, we have boxes already on our walls for that, but we will not be passing a plate. We're not going to be passing out papers. We've even collected the pencils and papers that were in the aisles just to eliminate that from any contamination concerns that you may have. The restrooms will be available on the concourses. We will leave the doors open, but where we need modesty screens, we will put those up. And we will have teams who monitor how many people are in there at the same time, and also any sanitation needs that we have. We have teams that will be set up and ready to go to accommodate that. Although the recommendation has been not to open up restrooms, we just don't see how that's a possibility. So we want to do it. We want to make it possible, but we also want to do it as safely as we can. At the end of the service, our departure will be a little bit different. We will exit row by row. We'll have our ushers who will be dismissing row by row, just as you would at special service or a special gathering, just so that we can have order. You will go back out the same door that you came in. You will not be encouraged to congregate here in the lobby, but move on out through the doors and get out to the parking lot so that the folks who are exiting behind you will be able to do so and not worry about jamming up or those considerations. Some of you may decide to stay and have a Connect Group lunch outside, and those things, again, you're welcome. Just be in touch with your Connect Group leader and they'll let you know what your group is doing following a service. I want to talk about some special considerations. We will not have communion every Sunday, but the first Sunday, obviously, of every month. And so for our outdoor service and our indoor service, in both these locations, we will have tables set up and we will have the elements spread out. And we're asking one adult from each family to come get the elements that they will need for their family to participate in the Lord's Supper. But you're not going to have to stick in a basket. Our people putting them out will have gloves on and spread them out so that you don't have to touch 50 of them to get 2. So you'll be able to grab what you need. I also want to say to you, if you feel more confident in bringing your own elements to be able to participate in during the season, we're okay with that. It is okay for you to bring those for your family on the first Sunday of each month and to observe. And so we're fine with that. I know that we didn't envision having to communicate all of these practices or procedures that we're putting in place. And in some ways, it's going to be different than it's ever been before. We know that. But we also know it is going to be sweet to gather. We may not be able to do all that we normally would want to do when we gather just yet, but we want to ease back into this. We don't want to do things that would prevent us from future gatherings. And so I just want to remind you again, if there's a remote chance of any sickness, just stay home. Watch it online and join us the next Sunday. But for those of you who do come, even when they rebuilt the temple after exile, those who'd seen it before grieved because it wasn't what it was like before. And there may be some grieving, even as we celebrate getting together, there may be some grieving, but this is not the way it's going to be forever. We just need to get through this season, and there are hopes that what we love about being able to get together, we're the church. We're meant to hug. We're meant to cry together. We're meant to high five and handshake. And so we hope that season will return very, very quickly. I also want to encourage you, we are going to be able to celebrate. We're going to have baptisms in these services. We'll have one outside, we'll have one inside, and we're going to be able to spread those out over the Sundays in June. And we get to celebrate that God has been working. And so I look forward to us being able to gather around a horse trial out there, or to see inside here in our normal baptistry. But I also want to encourage you in two ways. This week, I received an email from a guest who's been watching our services online. They moved here in the middle of all this, and the only experience they have with Hebron is our online services. But they were among the first to write an encouraging email about what they've seen from our services, and to say they were ready to sign up and register and to have their first Sunday on campus. I also was just walking in with my children to our school to pick up their stuff from their locker and their cubbies, and another mom stopped me and said she'd been watching our services online, and when we can gather again, that she and her family were wanting to join us and be a part of that. And so I want to share this to say that I know it's been difficult, but the good news is God has still been working and moving and building his church, and he's going to do that. And even when we gather, even through masks, even through gloves that some may wear, even through distancing, God moves and God works, and we know he's going to do that. And so I'm just going to be excited to see so many of you, even if we are spread apart. I'm looking so forward to seeing so many of you on campus, and I look forward to us moving closer and closer and closer back to normal. But in the meantime, let's help each other get through this unique time. Let's follow some of the best practices that we know so that we can do so with integrity, so that we can do so without bringing reproach on Christ in any way, by being negligent or foolish. And let's do so with hope and expectation that this virus doesn't get the last word. In all things, Christ has the last word, and he reigns for our good. So I want to comfort you with that, and we look forward to seeing you very soon.